Hello and welcome to another EG Recap. I'm Jack Lindsay, and today I've got 4 pieces of news for you, as well as a couple of recommendations for some other articles I think you might enjoy reading. Up first, the developers of Ion Fury reverse their stance on censoring their game. Then, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3's first expansion pass DLC releases on September 30th. The Wichita police launch an anti-swatting initiative. And it's said that Cyberpunk 2077 will have a smaller environment than The Witcher 3. But before I get into the news, I just wanted to say, I see you guys throwing compliments my way on those YouTube comments, telling me the recaps are improving and making me feel all tingly inside. And I just wanted to say a lot of that is thanks to your feedback. So keep it coming, always keep it coming. And now on to the news. Ion Fury devs reverse their stance on censoring their game. I'm sure many of you by now are aware of the recent statements from Voidpoint, the developers of Ion Fury, regarding the outrage from Reset Era about their game. The full context of this back and forth is linked to in the article which I've linked below. But I'm going to go ahead and read you their original statement that they released when the drama first broke out. And it goes as follows. We recognize these statements are insensitive, unacceptable, and counterproductive to causes of equality. We unequivocally apologize both for these comments and language, as well as for any pain they've caused the gaming community, particularly women and members of the LGBTQ community. We take full responsibility for any damage that has been done to the relationships we've worked so hard to build. Moving forward, Voidpoint will institute a zero-tolerance policy for this type of language, and all employees and contractors will undergo mandatory sensitivity training. As part of our efforts to contribute the work that must be done to further support these communities, we are donating $10,000 from Ion Fury's release day proceeds to the Trevor Project. We are also patching Ion Fury ASAP to remove all unacceptable language. Now, needless to say, those who backed the game were none too pleased to see Voidpoint and their publisher 3D Realms kowtowing to political correctness. The backlash was immediate and severe. So today, Voidpoint released the following statement through Steam, and it reads as follows. Joint statement from Voidpoint and 3D Realms. We've caused a recent controversy suggesting Ion Fury game content was to be censored. We will absolutely not be censoring Ion Fury or any of our other games now or in the future, including but not limited to removing gags such as gaming's most controversial face wash. We do not support censorship of creative works of any kind and regret our initial decision to alter a sprite in the game instead of trusting our instincts. 3D Realms and Voidpoint stand together on this matter. Last but not least, please respect our need to keep our community forums clean from hateful messages, spam, or off-topic threads. We recognize our mistake and received your message loud and clear. That sounds like a loss for social justice, but a win for good old regular justice. But it's also a reminder to those of you out there who are tired of seeing politics forced into your games. You can push back. You have a voice. Use it. They reversed their decision based on user feedback, specifically from a Steam review bomb. And this is exactly why Access Gaming Media is so against user feedback. It's why they promote the Epic Store's decision not to include user reviews. It's why they promote Steam's decision to negate negative reviews deemed off-topic. It's because they can work. It's because they can make the developers listen. They can make the developers put up a boundary and say, okay, no politics, which is to say, no political agenda. And since Access Gaming Media very much does have a political agenda, they're very much against the tools that allow people to push back against that political agenda. But let this story be a sign that those tools still exist, and take it upon yourself to wield them wherever and whenever you can. In our next story, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 gets its first expansion pack DLC on September 30th. Previously announced as part of a season pass for the recently released Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 The Black Order, Marvel Knights Curse of the Vampire is set to release on September 30th. The first DLC will introduce 4 new playable characters from the Marvel Universe into the game, as well as a few new modes to enjoy either solo or with friends. The new additions to the roster include the Punisher, Morbius, Blade, and Moon Knight. Yes, you heard that right. 4 fan favorites that are often overshadowed by larger names are finally getting their time to shine once again. You can cancel the Punisher's Netflix run, but no one keeps him down for long, says Mr. Irwin. An interesting thing about the 4 new characters that are incoming is that they're known more for their sheer ability to cause a bloodbath, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is certainly not a game where bloodbaths are going to be seen. Anyone looking to relive the carnage that Blade and the Punisher caused in earlier generations of gaming aren't going to find it here. Wow, that sucks. However, for everyone that can give that a pass and accept that these versions of Moon Knight and Morbius aren't going to be spattering their pale colorings and bits and pieces of their enemies, they're going to be great additions to the roster. In addition to the new characters comes 2 new modes. Gauntlet mode allows 1 to 4 players to engage in a series of different challenges for rewards, while Endurance mode, well, it's in Endurance mode. Enemies will throw themselves against you in increasingly difficult ability and larger numbers as you take them on as long as you can. Should be a breeze for Marvel fans who know their heroes inside and out, right? To access the upcoming DLC, players will have to purchase the expansion pass for $19.99. The pass includes 3 DLCs, with the future 2 packs including Fantastic Four and additional X-Men characters. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order and its expansion pass are both available exclusively on the Nintendo Switch. And Mr. Irwin, like the angel that he is, has included the link where you can purchase all this in the article that is linked below. In article number 3, Wichita police launch an anti-swatting initiative. The Wichita Police Department of Wichita, Kansas has rolled out an initiative to safeguard gamers and officers from swatting events. In 2017, the city received national attention as it found itself at the center of a deadly case of swatting when an innocent bystander was shot on his doorstep by responding officers who had responded to a false emergency call. Available now to voluntary participants, the form on the Wichita Police website allows users to register their personal information as well as leave a note as to why exactly they want to be added to this anti-swatting registry. And here's some of the statements that are on this swatting alert form. Sedgwick County will make reasonable efforts to convey the information provided above to field personnel. However, due to the rapidly evolving nature of many emergency situations, Sedgwick County does not guarantee that such information will be relayed to any or all field personnel who may be involved in call responses. Nor does Sedgwick County guarantee a specific response and or action by field personnel based upon the information herein submitted. This request and authorization shall remain in effect for 1 year from the date of signing, at which time I understand that I must resubmit the information to Sedgwick County Emergency Communicators. Otherwise, this information will be deleted from my file. Sedgwick County will not be liable for any property damage, financial loss, or personal injury due to incorrect information and or any miscommunication of the information conveyed to emergency responders. Mr. Irwin continues, the form is available for all residents of the area, but the circumstances of this rollout carry the heavy implications that this is for gamers of the area concerned about future swatting incidents. In 2017, an argument over a bet on Call of Duty World War II between Casey Viner of North College Hill, Ohio, and Shane Gaskell of Wichita, Kansas preceded the incident. After a disagreement over $1.50, Tyler Barris contacted the Wichita Police Department with an address provided by Viner, believing it to be Gaskell's current address, when in fact he had been evicted 2 years prior. During the call, under a false name, Barris claimed he had shot his father at that address and was holding his family at gunpoint. He also claimed that he had poured gas all over the interior of the house and was preparing to set it ablaze. When responding officers arrived, victim Thomas Finch moved to the front door and stepped on his porch after hearing a commotion outside. Police ordered him to raise his hands, and after a brief hesitation, Officer Justin Rapp fired a single round, piercing his lung. 43 minutes later, Finch would pass away from his injury. Tyler Barris is now serving out a 20-year sentence for the incident. While swatting is commonly associated with video games, it's not a new harassment tactic, nor is it exclusive to the hobby. Over the last 2 decades, public figures from politicians to Hollywood celebrities have found themselves victims to similar attacks, often by disgruntled former employees or jaded followers. This initiative by Wichita Police, while well-meaning, raises a number of questions. Why does it feel like the potential victims are the one under scrutiny? Why does the accountability seem to be shifted to the ones swatted and not the caller? What training will police undergo to reduce risks of future incidents to avoid another tragic outcome? Yeah, and I wonder about some things myself. It sounds like from the information they put on the forms that filling them out doesn't really do much. I mean, you're basically sending in a form that says, I'm a gamer, please don't swat me, but they straight up say, like, maybe the guy swatting you will not know this. Now, I actually covered the original story when Barris got sentenced back in March, and I'm going to include this article in the description, but it has a link to a report from The Economist that estimates that the number of swatting events has risen from 400 in 2011 to more than 1,000 today. My article also has a report from AP News with a quote from the officer that says he shot Finch because it looked like, quote, he was reaching for a gun because he moved a hand toward his waistband. And Barris was described by his best friend as a serial swatter and apologized at his hearing, saying, if I could take it back I would, but there's nothing I can do. I'm so sorry about that. And no charges were brought against the officer who shot the innocent bystander. Now, I'm not sure if there are any new updates, but last I heard, Congresswoman Catherine Clark was pushing legislation that would make swatting a federal crime. She started trying this in 2016, and soon after her announcement to stand against swatting, Police, armed with rifles, blocked off the street she lived in and took up combat positions in her yard. They'd been told by phone call that an active shooter was in her house and that shots had been fired. Man, this EG recap got dark. What do you guys think the appropriate response is for swatting? I say death penalty. I say you get catapulted into a volcano on live TV, and they set up like these rings along the trajectory, and people watching can place bets on how many you'll fly through before you plummet into the lava, and then a portion of those proceeds can go to the family members of victims of swatting. That sounds fair, right? I'd be a good king. And for our last story, we've got Mr. Irwin reporting that Cyberpunk 2077 has a smaller environment than The Witcher 3. From everything we've seen of Cyberpunk 2077, the region of Night City looks absolutely massive. In a recent interview with Games Radar during Gamescom 2019, Cyberpunk 2077 producer Richard Borzymowski had this to say in regards to the size of the map. If you look at pure surface square kilometers, then Cyberpunk 2077 might even be a little bit smaller than The Witcher 3. But it's the density of the content, taking the world of The Witcher and squeezing it right in, deleting the wilderness between. In The Witcher, we were an open world with vast lanes and forests in between smaller cities and larger cities like Novigrad. But in Cyberpunk 2077, we're set in Night City. It's an integral part of the setting. It's essentially a protagonist, if you want to call it that. So it has to be denser. It wouldn't give us the end effect we wanted to achieve if the city wouldn't be believable, so we packed it full of life. End quote. From what we've learned of Night City so far, we know the City of the Future is divided among 6 large districts and surrounded by a region known as the Badlands on the outskirts. On August 30th, CD Projekt Red will be streaming 15 minutes of footage shown at Gamescom via live stream on both Twitch and Mixer. And God bless Jonathan, he included the link to both of those in his article. This announcement came during an official blog post on the game's official website. The part of the blog pertaining to the gameplay reads as follows. Next week, we're going to host a stream during which we'll unveil a 15-minute edit of what we've been showing to journalists and gamers here at Gamescom, and then interview devs from the studio for additional information on what you just saw. Expect a lot of insight into the thought process behind creative decisions, information about Pacifica, one of the districts of Night City, and tons of stuff on playstyles you'll be able to adopt when you launch Cyberpunk 2077 next year. So it sounds like the stream is going to be a can't-miss event for eager fans. The live stream will take place on August 30th at 8 p.m. CEST, Central Eastern? Do I not know what time is? No, I do not. In any case, the links are in the article linked below. Also, a quick note here for people who are fans of The Witcher 3 and looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077. You guys might already know this, but expect an appearance from Ciri somewhere in Night City. I'm guessing it's probably going to be brief, kind of Easter egg. I doubt you'll really be able to interact with her. But there's a scene in The Witcher 3 when she's talking to Geralt about the different worlds she jumps through when she was hiding from the Wild Hunt. And one of them she describes is definitely Night City. And she explains what sounds like flying cars and making warfare at a distance and people who have metal in their heads. And since both titles are run by CD Projekt Red, I guarantee you she's going to show up somewhere. The only weird part of that scene is that Geralt was incredulous. Like what she was telling him was fantastical. He's like, metal in their heads, quit joking around, Ciri. Now let's go hunt down some griffins so we can prepare for our battle with interdimensional elf ghosts. That's it for today's recap. Looks like this one went over by about 4 minutes. Do you guys hate it when that happens? Do you want it right at 10 minutes? Or do you want me to just ramble on and on so you can leave me playing as the sound of my voice gently carries you away to slumber? You let me know. And in the meantime, like, comment, share, subscribe. LCSS. Look us. Until next time.